broke my heart, 'cause I couldn't dance. You didn't even want me around. But now I'm back to let you know that I can really shake 'em down. Come on, baby! Let's do the
must be conscious of the sensitivities that some people do have about the Balfour Declaration, and we recognise that there is more work to be done. We remain committed to the two-state solution in relation to Israel and the Palestinians. That is an important aim. I think it's important that we all recommit to ensuring that we can provide security, stability and justice for both Israelis and Palestinians through such a lasting peace. I'd like to start by addressing the troubling situation in Gaza and the West Bank, which President Erdogan and I have discussed today. The loss of life we have seen is tragic and extremely concerning. Such violence is destructive to peace efforts, and we call on all sides to show restraint. There is an urgent need to establish the facts of what happened yesterday through an independent and transparent investigation, including why such a volume of live fire was used and what role Hamas played in events. Palestinians have the right to protest, but these protests must be peaceful. We are concerned that extremist elements are seeking to hijack legitimate protests to further their own objectives. And while we do not question the right of Israel to defend its borders, the use of live fire and the resulting loss of life is deeply troubling. We urge Israel to show restraint. It is in everyone's interest for peace and stability to prevail in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories.
Britain is a strong supporter of the two-state solution. We remain of the view that that is the right answer for peace and stability between Palestinian people and Israel. I want to commend your bravery for entering these talks and the bravery of Prime Minister Netanyahu as well. We want these talks to succeed. We'll do everything we can to help. We obviously want to make sure that those things that could derail or upset the talks don't happen. And that applies, I think, to both sides in the talks. Obviously on the issue of settlements, Britain has a long-standing policy. Of course, we passionately defend the right of Israel to exist within secure borders and peace with her neighbours, but we don't believe that it's right to have this illegal settlement activity, and we've made that point many times and will always go on doing so, as I did in the House of Commons today. But a warm welcome, look forward to these discussions, and Britain stands ready to help in any way we can. Thank you.
أنا أشكر رئيس كاميرون على استقبالنا وإيجاد الوقت للقاء معنا.
You look at everything I've done in terms of defending the interests of women, the work I've done on modern slavery, on domestic violence and so forth. I'm proud to be only the second female Prime Minister that the United Kingdom has had. Both of us Conservatives, you know, the Conservative Party has put female Prime Ministers here. NATO is an important, very important. NATO has been the bulwark of our security here in Europe, and we work together in NATO. We've both made the point before about contributions being made by countries. The United Kingdom is spending 2% of its GDP on defence. I believe that's important.
Do you agree with what he said about other NATO countries not paying their way?
Well, there are other NATO countries that are also paying 2% of their GDP on defence, and others that are working towards doing that. What is important is that we recognise the value of NATO, which he does, the value of NATO as an organisation that is helping us to defend Europe and defend the interests of all of those allies who are in NATO.
You are lauding free trade at Davos in Switzerland. The Chinese talk about free trade. Donald Trump wants to tear up free trade agreements. And he said, buy America, hire American. How is this going to be a man that we can do a good deal with?
Well, he's also, he and people around him have also spoken about the importance of a trade arrangement with the United Kingdom, and that is something that they're looking to talk to us about at an early stage, and I would expect to be able to talk to him about that alongside the other issues I'll be discussing with him when I'm in Washington. I think free trade is important around the world. I believe globalisation is important. I believe this does bring economic benefits to our countries, but we do need to make sure, as I said in Davos this week, that those economic benefits, that prosperity, is spread across the whole of the UK. That's why I'm introducing a modern industrial strategy this week, so that we can ensure that we're building on the strengths of our economy across the whole of the UK.
Schools.
Yes, we will be putting an emphasis on technical education. We'll be looking at how we can extend some of the very successful specialist maths schools that we've seen across the country. But it's also crucially about bringing all parts of government together that have an impact on the economy and on industry across the whole range of sectors, to include services as well as manufacturing. It's about saying, what are our strengths? As we come out of the European Union, we're coming together as a country. We're forging our future. We're shaping a new future for the UK as a global Britain. And how can we do that? I have every expectation that we will be able to achieve a very good trade deal with the European Union. I think that not just because it's going to be good for the UK, but also it's going to be good for the European Union too. So I want a trade deal with the EU which ensures that our companies have the best possible access to and opportunity to operate within the European single market in goods and services. But I'm very clear that on behalf of the British people, I don't want to sign up to a bad deal for the UK. So it is right that we say we look at the alternatives.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Montreal Arabic Corner. This is our 77th episode devoted to Theresa May. Theresa May is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and leader of the Conservative Party since 2016. She served as a Home Secretary from 2010 to 2016. May attended the University of Oxford, where she read geography at the St. Hugh's College, graduating with a second-class BA degree in 1977. And between 77 and 83, she worked at the Bank of England. She married Philip May in September 1980. Her father died in a car accident in 1981, and her mother died the following year. From 85 to 97, she worked as a financial consultant and senior advisor in international affairs. May served as a councillor for a London borough from 1986 to 1994. In the 1997 general election, May was selected as a Conservative candidate and she was elected. In 2010, May was appointed Home Secretary and Minister for Women and Equality by the Prime Minister David Cameron as part of his first cabinet. In June 2016, May announced her candidacy for the leadership of the Conservative Party to replace David Cameron, who resigned following the outcome of the European Union membership. 2 days after becoming leader of the Conservative Party, May was appointed Prime Minister by Queen Elizabeth II, becoming only the second female British Prime Minister after Margaret Thatcher. In January 2017, following the inauguration of Donald Trump as a U.S. president, the White House announced that May would meet the president, making her the first foreign leader to meet Trump since he took office. In a joint press conference, May indicated an interest in increased trade between the United States and the United Kingdom. Also affirmed a desire to maintain an American involvement in NATO. As a Prime Minister, May supported the Saudi Arabian-led intervention in Yemen 2017 during an official trip to Saudi Arabia. May was granted the Order of King Abdulaziz, the founder of the kingdom. September, she was listed by Forbes as the second most powerful woman in the world behind Angela Merkel of Germany to go to the Middle East. May took a firm positions against suspects of religious fanatics such as the Muslim Brotherhood. Nevertheless, May said in her September 2014 speech, "Those of us who are sympathetic to Israel's security predicament must always make clear that the loss of any civilian life, whatever the nationality of the victim, is an appalling tragedy." May also said, "And we must remember that there will be no lasting peace or justice in the region until the Palestinian people are able to enjoy their full civil rights themselves." It is known that the UK has supported the two-state solutions and is still, of course, in Palestine since issuing the Balfour Declaration. Two states in the Balfour Declaration after the occupation of Jerusalem in 1917, which included the creation of two states, one as a Jewish homeland and one for the native of Palestine, the native of the land. And during its mandate, it promised, despite that, the Palestinian leader, Hajj Amin al-Husseini, a Palestinian state. That's the history. It is there to see it. With a minority Jewish parliament group which was opposed by Palestinian militants, accusing the mandate as occupations, etc. David Ben-Gurion accepted that, by the way. Later, Britain offered a partition plan to accommodate the two communities, Jewish and Palestinians, because of the increase of the immigration, and it was more generous than the UN partition plan in 1947, and no comparison to the situations of the Palestinian territories today. Palestinians have to thank the Muslim Brotherhood in Palestine and its arms, the Qassam militants and the Islamists in general, or who took these ideas, who refused such a plan, accusing Hajj Amin al-Husseini as a traitor, Amil, and caused him to escape a mandate court ruling to Nazi Germany. The militant Qassam accused the British mandate as a colonial power, dividing a trust between the native of Palestine and the newly Jewish immigrants from Europe and others, to put the burdens of Jewish refugees from the First and Second World Wars on a colonized region. At the end of the British rule in Palestine, Britain was frustrated with both the Arabs and the Zionist Jews, who put the country in fire and explosions everywhere and fighting everywhere, that it asked the UN to end its mandate and just leave Palestine. To say the least, the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, confessed in an interview it was a mistake not to accept the British partition plan. The UK still supports the two-state solution, consider East Jerusalem as an occupied city, Israeli settlements as illegal, and supports the Palestinian refugees and aid their UNRWA in addition critical of Israeli bombardments of Gaza and even the presence of the Hamas and the militants in the strip, which they disregard the Israeli security issues in a very subtle political position. As Prince William said during his visit to Jerusalem, in his recent visit to the Palestinian refugees in their camp in Ramallah, you have not been forgotten. Know that the place is still vacant for the UK and its Prime Minister Theresa May to find a solution to the Palestinian cause. Thank you for listening. تيريسا ماي هي رئيسة الوزراء البريطانية من عام 2016 وهي ثاني امرأة تتولى رئاسة الوزراء في بريطانيا. تولت سابقا منصب وزيرة الداخلية في الفترة ما بين 2010 إلى 2016. موقفها من قضايا الشرق الأوسط والقضية الفلسطينية هو نفسه موقف الحكومة البريطانية التقليدي والمحافظ. ولدت تيريسا ماي عام 56 لأسرة من الطبقة الوسطى وابنة قس، ونقل عنها كان حلم الحياة السياسية يراودها منذ 12، لكنها في سن 15 فقدت والدها في حادث سيارة وتوفت والدتها بعده بعدة شهور. التحقت تيريسا بمدرسة سانت هيج الخاصة بالفتيات حينذاك، حيث درست مادة الجغرافيا، وأكملت تعليمها في جامعة أكسفورد وتخرجت منها. بدأت ماي مسيرتها المهنية في الاقتصاد، حيث التحقت ببنك إنجلترا واستمرت فيه حتى عام 83 قبل أن تنتقل للعمل في مؤسسة خدمات تخليص الدفع، مش دافعين ادفع الفاتورة، واستمرت في هذا العمل حتى عام 97. في عام 86 دشنت تيريسا ماي المسؤولية السياسية داخل حزب المحافظين بانتخابها كمستشارة في إقليم لندن قبل أن تتخلى عن المنصب في 94، وانتخبت في عام 97 نائبة محافظة عن حزب المحافظين. شغلت مناصب متعددة في حزب المحافظين بين 99 و 2010، حيث كلفت بملفات البيئة وحقوق المرأة والعمل، كما كانت سندا قويا لديفيد كاميرون الذي أصبح رئيسا للوزراء عام 2010، وظهرت على الساحة الإعلامية عندما عينت وزيرا للداخلية وكذلك وزيرة المرأة. اتخذت خلال مناصبها الحكومية عدة إجراءات فكانت وراء جهود مكافحة ما يعرف بالتطرف الإسلامي، وحاولت بشدة اعتبار جماعة الإخوان المسلمين جماعة إرهابية. تولت ماي رئاسة الوزراء خلفا لديفيد كاميرون في 2016 رغم أنها كانت من الداعيين للبقاء في الاتحاد الأوروبي، وأكدت أنها ستعمل على وضع خطة للانسحاب من الاتحاد وإقامة علاقات تجارية جديدة مع أوروبا وأمريكا وبقية بلاد العالم. بخصوص قضية الشرق الأوسط والقضية الفلسطينية، أيدت الموقف السعودي في اليمن ومحاربة الإرهاب في سوريا، وتؤيد حل الدولتين في مفاوضات السلام الإسرائيلية الفلسطينية. وتاريخيا حكومة الانتداب البريطاني وبريطانيا أعطت وعد بالفور بدولتين، من جاءت أولا بفكرة التقسيم وحل الدولتين. حكومة بريطانيا كانت من اقترحت على الحج أمين الحسيني دولة فلسطينية برئاسة فلسطينية وببرلمان وأقلية يهودية طبعا، وقبلها وقتها زعيم الحركة الصهيونية ديفيد بن غوريون اللي كان أول رئيس لإسرائيل وافق عليها، بس نحن ما وافقنا عليها. جماعات القسام اتهمت الحسيني انه خاين وعميل الى اخره. ثم بعد زياده الهجره اليهوديه الغير شرعيه وفشل التقييد البريطاني عليها، اقترحت لجنه برلمانيه بريطانيه خطه لتقسيم فلسطين لانه زاد المهاجرين لتتمشى مع الامر الواقع بدوله فلسطينيه واصغر دوله يهوديه حتى تأخذ المهاجرين اللي هربوا من الحرب العالمية الأولى والثانية. ولكن جماعات القسام والإخوان اعتبروا الحج أمين الحسيني بأنه خاين وورطوا له يهرب من حكم بريطاني بالسجن حتى وصل ألمانيا النازية. تخربط الأمر. حكومة بريطانيا سعت لإنقاذ القضية الفلسطينية، ولكن الفكرة العامة عندنا فلسطينيين بتأثير المد الإسلامي والقومي العربي كانت بريطانيا دولة محتلة مستعمرة وصليبية وفيها فساد، والديمقراطية بس إلنا مش إلنا، وتؤيد الحركة الصهيونية إلى آخر الموضوع. هذا مع أن حكومة الانتداب تعرضت أيضا لعمليات عنف ضد مواطنيها ودولتها في فلسطين أشد وأقوى من هجمات القسام بعد نهاية الحرب العالمية الثانية وقبلها كمان، وتوجت بتفجير صهيوني للقيادة العامة البريطانية في فندق الملك داوود في القدس. بس هذا بننساه احنا، دولة استعمارية. الجدير بالذكر بعد فشل بريطانيا في فلسطين راحت تصفي كل مستعمراتها وتعطيهم حق تقرير المصير ببرلمانات ديمقراطية. هي موجودة، افتح النت تشوف كما أرادت لفلسطين، نحن الأولى لكن الأخيرة. اليوم تعتبر بريطانيا القدس الشرقية محتلة وضد التوسع أو بناء مستوطنات جديدة على الأراضي الفلسطينية المحتلة، ولا زالت تتألم بقضية اللاجئين. الكثير لا يعرف مدى ارتباط بريطانيا بفلسطين بل بمنطقة الشرق الأوسط ككل، ولا يذكر إلا تفسيرات شبه متطرفة ودينية بين الشعوب العربية وبريطانيا مع أن كلنا بنروح زيارة لهنا. للذين لا زالوا يعتبروا بريطانيا أيام الانتداب لم تنصف الشعب الفلسطيني، عليهم فقط أن ينظروا لخريطة خطة التقسيم البريطانية ومقارنتها بخطة التقسيم اللي صدرت عن الأمم المتحدة عام 47، ولا داعي لمقارنتها بخريطة المناطق الفلسطينية اليوم. فالكثير لا يعرف الفرق بين مناطق A و B و C، كله بطيخ عنا، والمناطق التي استولت عليها إسرائيل ببناء الجدار. ليش بنت الجدار؟ حتى توقف المفجرين من حماس. لا حق الرئيس الفلسطيني محمود عباس لما قال يا ريتنا قبلنا بالتقسيم ويا ريتنا سمعنا نحن شعبنا، وهو بقول يا ريتهم كسموا. شكرا على استماعكم.
I love you most when it shines and when it rains. Guess it's been waiting all along on me and you.
I love you, not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you, not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. You have changed my world.
Through light or rain.
When I am old and grey, I promise to love you just as much as I do in this very moment. You will always be my greatest adventure.